Kate Mila-Falcher, welcome to Irish Granny Helen. Welcome, Debbra Lupien, voice of the Akashic Records. Hello.
Hello, how are you doing?
Well, I'm fine, thanks. We're gonna be talking about my favorite topic, insane murderers. We have a really interesting person to talk with. Not who you might think, though. So, very briefly, for those who don't know, there's this woman in Australia who recently was convicted and sentenced and put in prison for poisoning her mother and her ex mother and father-in-law and her ex mother-in-law's sister, so her aunt-in-law and
Angela.
and her ex mother-in-law's sister's husband. And she would have also killed her ex-husband, but he refused to come to lunch. Wise man, very wise man. And it's by the time you see this video that we're making, I will have already published my little talk about the story, the background, and the video of Denise and me doing the astrological chart and the cards. And I have already read the cards, and we're going to talk about the murderer. Her name is Erin Patterson. We're not going to talk about her. We're going to talk about her mother. And, they always blame the mother. It's all, take it from me, from personal experience, it's always the mother's fault. It's very convenient. But in this case, going into this, that's what I thought. That is what I thought. And that is definitely what the murderer, Erin, said. She accused her mother of being really weird and difficult and cold and not nurturing. And I looked up a picture of her mother. And she looked like, the vibe I got was that she was not exactly the most mentally healthy person in the world. So I had preconceived notions. So her name is Dr. Heather Scutter. She's a doctor, PhD in literature, and her specialty is, wait for it, the irony is just too much to handle, children's literature. And she did not have a close relationship with her daughter. So I thought it would be really interesting to get insight into this whole thing by talking to her mother. What do you think?
I'm looking forward to hearing what Mom has to say because there's very little information out there about her.
The interesting fact, it's been hard for us to actually research her or the ex-husband because apparently their birth dates are not public record.
Oh,
So we don't even know for sure what year they were born. We can kind of extrapolate backwards and figure it out that way. When I say we, I mean Denise and I, because Denise was trying to do the astrological chart. You kind of need a birth date for that, right? For me, it didn't really matter so much, but I was trying to help her find it. And I don't know if it's an Australian thing. I don't know, maybe like one of their laws or privacy, or I don't know.
could be.
But yeah, but it ultimately, for my purposes and your purposes, it's really doesn't matter. Astrology is a different case. There's not a lot of details of her life, but I'm not sure that matters either. I have a sense of what might have been going on. So let's see what she says, and then I'll tell you what I got. And we'll see if they match, okay? So we want to talk to Dr. Heather Scutter, the mother of Erin Patterson.
And she died in 2019, right?
Yeah, she developed cancer and died. And here's the most interesting part of the whole thing is she died before this crime was ever committed. I think the crime was committed in 2022. let me see here. I have it written down. Let me get it right. 2023. So she'd been dead. What, she died in 2019. So she was dead, what, 4 years? Is that right? Did I do that right? I've forgotten you had to add and subtract.
Yeah, 4 years.
Yeah. And I almost feel like it was a blessing. But we'll talk about it. We'll get into it.
Mm-hmm.
So, first question for her, if you're able to connect with her, is she willing to talk with us?
Yeah, so Dr. Heather Scutter, can we chat with you? Are you willing to talk? Yeah, I'm getting a palette of different reds from her.
What does that mean for you?
It's an opening, but usually it's not a palette. Usually it's one color, and now it's morphing into, there's adding more yellow to it, so it's going more orange. It's like moving up the chakras.
What does that mean?
Opening up, starting at the root chakra, moving up to sacral chakra, which is orange.
So she's kind of looking forward to being able to talk about this.
Yeah, it's like looking back across the cosmos through the portals at us. That's the energy it feels like.
My guess would be she probably has a lot bottled up, but we're going to talk about it. So my first question is, so she's an academic, a professor, PhD, so smart person, accomplished. Did she welcome motherhood?
So, Dr. Heather, were you happy about being a mother? It was more of a duty. It was expected.
So that kind of changes my next question. So it sounds like you didn't feel like you had a choice.
From her parents, it was just always expected she would reproduce. Society put that expectation on her. She feels like she was very wrapped up in her career, very passionate about it.
Yeah.
So there wasn't a lot of time. The children were almost an interference.
What was her expectation of like how she would be a mother? What was her expectation of what her relationship would be like with her child?
What do you have to say about that? It's not something she really focused on. She was so enmeshed in her world of career. Yeah, she didn't spend a lot of time thinking about it, which now she can see was a mistake.
When did she first notice that Erin wasn't okay?
She feels very disengaged the whole time that the kids were little. So it's like they were there, but she didn't um, have a deep connection with them. So it took her a while to notice there was a problem. And then at that point, then it was kind of late to fix it because there was a disconnection from the early days. And it was like something was irretrievably broken.
Did she feel like, did she have emotional expectations of the relationship that she felt like they just didn't get met? Or is she taking responsibility for the fact that they weren't met?
So are you saying that your expectations were not met or their expectations? She's admitting to failing at motherhood, to not being the nurturer, not providing the connection that they needed. Like it's feeling to me like she didn't even she wasn't so involved with the care of them as infants even. Other people did that for her because she was busy with her career. It was prioritizing the career over the children, and they felt that. And now she sees that that was a problem.
Does she feel a sense of responsibility for Erin being not well?
So would you say you feel responsible for what Erin turned out to be? She certainly played a part in it. Or she's saying, rather, to be more exact, she didn't play a part, and that was the problem. She was absent emotionally.
Would it be fair to say that if she had been more emotionally available, Erin would not have gone down the path she went down?
Do you think that's true, that if you'd been emotionally connected, Erin would have been a different person? Yes and no. There was always something off with Erin. There was something, a disconnect in her soul, which may be the reason I didn't connect to her. I'm not sure at this point, but certainly had I been more engaged, we might have noticed there was a problem and gotten her help sooner.
Was there conflict or just disconnection?
What do you say to that? Conflict or disconnection? On her part, it was disconnection. She can't speak to, the conflict that Erin might
Oh,
have
on the
felt.
mother's part, there was disconnection.
Yeah, the mother was disconnected, disengaged, really.
So she wasn't trying to fix her or to regulate her behavior at all?
Would you say that you were trying to fix her or regulate her behavior? Later on, yes. There was a point where she noticed it was like she had been in a fugue state, just so focused, tunnel vision on her work, that it was like the children were an afterthought. But then there came a point when she sort of had an awakening and realized, oh, I need to be involved with these kids. It was almost like she couldn't relate to them as infants, but when they started becoming people, then she could relate to them. And then she saw there was a problem. And so maybe she overcorrected trying to help.
Could you describe the evolution of her relationship with Erin? Like what things did Erin do? How did her psychopathology manifest in her behaviors?
Can you talk to that about any psychopathology that you might have noticed? She was socially awkward. That was obvious. And that was something that I tried to help her with. But I think at that point she resented my trying to help her because she had been left to her own path for so long. I tried to help her with regards to just being in the world, flowing, not being such an odd square peg in a round hole. I tried to smooth out the edges, but she resented it at that point, was not open to my helping her, and rebelled against me.
Did it go beyond just social awkwardness? Was she a pathological liar? Did she steal things? Did she hurt animals or little children? I mean, were there more substantial manifestations?
Mm. So did you know of any other manifestations of the pathology other than just being socially awkward? She could be cruel. She could be cruel to other children. Certainly, she tried to be cruel to me, but I believed that I had set that in motion, so I didn't blame her for that. Anything else that notable to mention about her? I don't know how far the cruelty might have gone. I tried to rein her in as much as I could to limit her ability to connect in areas where she might demonstrate that cruelty. I was concerned that she might start hurting other children.
Was she a
So
liar?
would you say she was a liar? Yes, definitely a liar.
Did she
Yeah, she was.
manipulate people?
Yeah, that was part of it. But what Heather's focusing on so much is that she was worried about her hurting other children. And so she was keeping a really tight leash on her, which of course, Erin rebelled against.
Yeah. Uh, what did she think of Simon? Simon's the husband, the ex-husband. What did she think of Simon?
So what was your opinion of Simon? He was a likable person. He was a good father. I don't think he was a good match for Erin. I think he was overwhelmed by her. And it was a sad situation because he really did love her.
Was he
I'd
afraid
say
of her? I'm sorry.
sorry.
Was he afraid of her?
Do you think Simon was afraid of Erin? She never saw signs of that.
Let me reword it. In the stories that I've heard, it seems like he was a passive observer of her problematic behaviors. He didn't intervene. He didn't try to rein her in. And I wonder, is that because he was afraid to?
So what do you say about that? I think he was bewildered by her because she changed. She wasn't the same person that he thought he had committed to. He wasn't sure quite what to do with and about her. And I often felt like he was tiptoeing around her so as not to cause
Yeah,
her upset.
yeah. That's what I mean by being afraid of her. Like always on pins and needles. Would she say that his relatives were too involved in their lives?
Hmm. Were you aware of the relationship between Erin and her in-laws? Do you think that they were overly involved? I think they were concerned for their son. They weren't sure that it was a good match and that he was happy. Maybe they crossed some lines, but from my perspective, it didn't look like it was anything serious.
They were not too interfering.
From her perspective, no, but she's saying she can see why Erin thought that they were, because she would rebel against anybody trying to come in and offer support and guidance.
What was Erin's relationship with her children like?
Can you tell us about Erin's relationship with her children? Sadly, there was a disconnect, much as there had been between myself and Erin. She wasn't equipped to nurture like a mother ought to nurture, and I could see that mirroring back at me. It was heartbreaking.
Do you think Simon will be able to ameliorate some of that damage? Do you think that he's a good dad and he'll get them the help they need?
What do you say, Heather? Is it likely that Simon can help them? Simon needs to get help himself, and then he needs to lean upon the support of family and services that are available. They are available if he chooses to use them. I believe he will. So there's a chance.
It's just remarkable how generation after generation it just continues.
Yeah.
Heather, what was your relationship like with your mother?
Can you tell us about you and your mother, Heather? I always thought it was a good relationship, but in hindsight, I can see that my mother was a little emotionally withdrawn, and I yearned for a closer relationship with her. And maybe that's why I struggled with my relationship with my own children. I didn't have a role model. I wasn't quite sure how to be a supportive mother until it was too late.
Is there a history of mental illness in your family?
What do you say about that, Heather? Are you aware? Is there mental illness in the family? Hmm. She's not. That's not something that was ever talked about.
Hmm. So, sadly, you died before any of this came to pass. Would it have ever occurred to you that something like this would happen? How beyond the realm of possibility would it have seemed to you that your daughter would do something like this?
Did you ever dream that this would be the way that Erin's life turned out? I feared that she might come to no good. But honestly, no, I could never have imagined that she would do something so heinous and far-reaching. That was beyond the pale.
If you had been alive when this happened, how do you think you might have reacted to it?
What would have been your reaction had you been here? I would have supported my daughter. I might have believed her when she said she didn't do it. I'm glad I wasn't there.
What would have predisposed you to believe her?
Guilt.
Mm.
Guilt in my part in creating the monster.
I don't know how much you can know where you are now. Um, but I sort of suspect that this was like an inherited thing. I thought that from the beginning. Then I saw your picture. I saw Heather's picture. And and this is, I'm not a doctor. What do I know, right? But my gut feeling was that this was to a large extent an inherited predisposition. There's something genetic going on and something karmic going on. And then when you add to that your lack of having your own role models and being able to be a nurturing mother, that was like the perfect storm. Um, would you say that might be accurate, or do you have a different take on it?
How would you characterize it, Heather? I believe you're correct that there is something going on genetically, although I was not aware of anything in those terms for myself. But perhaps that might explain my focus on career at the expense of my children, because that's not a normal reaction for mammals. So that is aberrant behavior when you get right down to it. Karmic? Most likely karmic, yes. Definitely something in the bloodlines, hereditary.
If you were here now, what would you say to Erin?
Mm. I would apologize to her and tell her that I loved her regardless of what she had done. And I would try to make amends and have a relationship with her.
Well, it's interesting because I did tarot cards, you know, on you. And I got a lot of what you're saying, but from a slightly different angle. Let me explain what I mean. I got the emotional disconnect, absolutely an emotional disconnect. I assumed, never make that mistake. I assumed that it was one-sided, that Erin was just beyond connecting with. Because from you, I got the sense of what's the word I want? Hopes, maybe not desires so much as hopes unmet. Like you wanted to be able to connect, and you were getting nothing back from her because of her problems. But really, there's more nuance to it than that. You hoped that you would be able to connect and meet her halfway, and she didn't have the ability to meet you. So I was giving you a little bit of a pass, you know, as like an unfulfilled expectation, right? And that she was the one not doing the fulfilling, but really it was both of you. But I think it's like a nerve connection where the impulse can't get across the synapse, you know,
Yeah.
and both halves of the system want to work right, but there's something missing. I think that might explain a lot of it.
Frayed wires. That's what I see.
Frayed wires, yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good
like there
description.
you got it. And the wires are frayed so that they can't make a good connection.
Yeah, I'm not sure that any amount of therapy or attempts at making things work properly would have really brought health to the relationship. There's something really wrong with her, missing from the
Mm.
very basics, because she ultimately I listened to a psychiatrist who spent a lot of time with her. He actually made a video about it. It was really interesting. Yeah, what did he say? He said that ultimately she felt she didn't get what she needed from them. And so she was entitled to do what she did, a great sense of entitlement. And it was like an injury. He didn't, I don't think he used the term, but like a narcissistic injury where you feel there's a certain level of treatment that you should get. And when you don't, you know, it sort of collapses your whole sense of self and your whole sense of your relationships with people. And she lashed out. It's very, very strange because a lot of planning went into it, but not enough. She did all this research to find these death cap mushrooms, and they only grow in singles. They don't grow in clumps. In order to get enough, you have to collect a bunch over time. So how are you going to do that? You know, the mushrooms will rot, right? So she went out and bought a food dehydrator and dehydrated each mushroom as she found it. She was online researching the site put out by the government of Australia. Don't eat any mushrooms in this area because death cap mushrooms are growing there. And then she go look for them there. Just so she had this not food processor, food dehydrator that she put these mushrooms in. And when she had enough collected, she did the math, and you need a certain number of grams to kill an adult. And she had 5 that she wanted to do away with. She only managed to kill 3. One didn't show up and one survived. Of course, he had to have a liver transplant. But so she gets enough of these mushrooms. So what does she do? She takes the food dehydrator to the dump. Well, this is all well and good, very smart, right? The food dehydrator had remnants of the mushrooms in it and her fingerprint. And they had CCTV cameras at the dump. All that planning, all that effort, but not quite smart enough, So I don't know. It was just a very interesting. The way the crime unfolded was really interesting revelation of a psychotic brain, right? Or yeah, psychotic, but not smart enough to clear her tracks, to hide her tracks. And I really did actually feel like a certain amount of sympathy for her mother, who really, and according to my cards, really wanted to reach out. I got that. Really wanted to fix the relationship, and finally just threw up her hands because there was nothing she could do about it. I missed the part about her not being there early on. A lot of resentment, absolutely a lot of resentment on the part of Erin. Yeah. Isn't that just the strangest story? Anyway.
Yeah. And it also feels like Erin just lacks empathy. We were talking about that earlier. She's one of those people who lacks empathy.
Yeah, she's a psychopath. She's your classic psychopathic killer. They're not always dramatic, It's pretty bad what she did, but there's a real interesting relationship between poisons and a certain kind of person. You'll have to watch my videos to find out. I did a little history behind poisoners. Very interesting.
Is that one already published?
No, well, by the time this comes out, it will have been, but not while we're talking. It's okay. We don't know if we're in the future or the past, Deborah. Time has no meaning. My whole thing right now is just insanity. I have a lot of stuff, for the future. Mm-hmm. And well, here's an example. So today I put up a video that was a conversation with the author of the book, who's a professor, talking to dead people on the telephone. It's fascinating, right? And people have been mentioning it to me. And the guy you talked to today, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, I didn't talk to anybody today. What are they talking about? I had forgotten what video it was I had scheduled to go up today. I recorded it a while back and actually finished the book several months ago. And I've been kind of stalking him, trying to pin him down to a time. But he has like a real life and a real job that interfered with things, but we finally managed to connect. So yeah, if you haven't watched that, check out my conversation with Dr. Callum Cooper, Phone Calls from the Dead. Really interesting. And it's a great book. I covered the book and it's on the Saturday books. I have to remember to advertise a little bit better. I never do remember to do that. I'm sure you notice. I always forget to remind people, hit the subscribe button, and I just never think about it. Well, so how about you? What should you tell people?
I was just going to say, I will plug for you that there is an amazing archive of books on your channel that if people have some time on their hands and they're looking for some introspection or understanding history, politics, a whole range of things. A lot of stuff on women, feminism, suffragettes. They definitely should go looking through your archive.
Oh, thank you. And I don't like, it's not an audiobook. I don't read the book. I synopsize the content, which kind of limits the books that I can cover because not all books are easy to synopsize. Books that are dialogue are difficult to synopsize. Books that are internal monologue, those are hard. I'm doing a great one. I won't tell you what I'm doing right now. I won't spoil the fun. It's something I read decades ago, and I had forgotten how fun it is. It's not meant to be funny, but it's very entertaining. So that's all I'll say. If you're tempted, come look at my channel. You and 3 other people. Well, thank you. Thank you for doing this. Did we say thank you to
Yeah.
Dr. Heather Scutter?
Oh, no, thank you, Dr. Heather. We appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
She
I'm
was happy
sorry.
to help.
I'm sorry about her daughter. That would break my heart. Wouldn't it break your heart? It would just be so.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she's beyond it now, of course, but yeah, it leaves a lasting mark, that's for sure. And it
I
sets them up for some major karma in the future.
Yeah, and I'm more feel badly for her children. She has a son and a daughter. That's kind of scary. Yeah. Okay, Deborah, I think our work here is done. We've solved the problems of the world. Till next time.
Yes.
Right. And I have to get out of here before that Union Jack drives me right over the edge. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, Deborah, for
Bye.
doing this. And Slanga Foil, Slanja.